Holy shit. Okay. Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my god. Stop fucking lying. You're lying so much. Always lying too. You're making it hard for me. Pencil. Alright, Chuckle Fucks. The sketchbook has become nothing but stuff for dregs. That's fine. How to do? Okay. So first things first. Oh yeah, first things first. Big exciting announcement. Dregs has its own blog now, which I'm gonna link in the chat. I said I was gonna link in the chat, but I think I'm full of shit. Hang on, I only have a mouse here. Here we go. Copy. Paste. Doink. There we go. So that is where all new pages are going to go. They're going to continue being reblogged on Voxlunch, but that's where it belongs. The big deal about that is it adds comic nav, which is a big deal. It means you can actually fucking read the shit. It says like first, previous, next, last navigation controls. And at the very bottom there's an RSS feed widget. I don't know how the hell that stuff works, but people asked for it, so I was like, okay. How does it feel? That's bad. Also, I just want to point something out about the new website. That background. Wait. Where the fuck is that? God damn it, I had it a second ago. Am I gaslighting myself? No, there it is. This is the background for the main blog. I actually inked this by hand, and then I did some digital cleanups on it because some of the bricks were too long. And then the really fun part is that I used Photoshop to make this a tiling pattern. So that's fun. I may also use this texture to cheat elsewhere if like I'm really in a crunch and I need a brick texture. Come on, you fucking piece of shit. Dear God. So what we're doing today is our penciling for the week, because today's comic is done. We need at least 2 pages inked. But before we do that, we need to concept them. This fucking ruler. And go suck a dog. Chair creak %. You know, Phil Pages is innocent. Yeah, the RSS is at the bottom. It's a little button. Grows cold, grows cold, grows cold. So what I discovered was really good about this template that I made is that I can subdivide it by half, and then I get perfect little thumbnails. So, let's see where Chubb ended up last time. I may just have to look at the reference. There we go. So this is our last page. So he's noped the fuck out of there. You can sort of see the amount of detail that's added in post. Now, I'm gonna be making things a little harder for myself again. The dark area that they were in, excuse me, in the previous segment, made for some pretty easy backgrounds, but not everything's going to be like that. In fact, I would prefer that not everything be like that. So the next few places are probably going to be a little better width. Let's see. So in my notes, he's going to nope the fuck out. Let me check my thumbnails. This is interesting because I get to try and figure out how to move the character up in space and where I want them to. Okay, I think I want this panel here. Which is the boat crashed out on the shore. I say shore. Now, can I flip this? Can I make him go left to right from the reverse? I think so, because I want to get the character headed this direction to continue the flow of the comic. Do I maybe need one panel of just his face to make that transition? Like, if I'm like, holy fuck, crashed. I think so. Just like, one's up there. Okay, so then okay, yeah, this works fine, I think. Do I need panel borders for this? Actually, I don't even need to decide that. So here's what I'm going to do for this panel. If he runs up there, then he's going to be running across, so we change the direction. We have him running stopping to catch his breath. Running again. But this background, whether or not there's divisions, will be one background. So I think these last two panels are pretty obvious. So he's running, looking over his shoulder, not looking where he's going. Foreground figure. Howdy! So, foreground figure, and then now, do I want them to like both collapse or just like boof off each other? Do I want to do the stupid anime thing where they end up straddling each other? And they don't freak out because they're grown-ass men. The character he's bumping into is this one, named Coney. See, because he's a rabbit. Impact. I think it probably needs some reference for that panel. Yeah, so like, upstairs, run, biff. Coney, you fucking furry. I'll hear no slagging of furries in my chat. Let's see. Oh, cheers, Landman. Take this, does some good work. Okay, so he runs. So they crash in. I need to look up reference for this because I don't know what it's gonna look like. So they bump into each other. See, back in the sort of mid to early 2000s, everybody's beef with furries, I think it was largely predicated around the persecution complex that some people had. And I mean, I'm not going to say that I wasn't above that stupid shit, but I eventually realized it's like, wait, what the hell is wrong with furries? Answer, nothing. It's just like, oh, wait, hang on. I would hate anybody if they had a bullshit persecution complex, whether they were wearing a fursuit or not. So let's maybe be clear about what I actually dislike. Also, they got some fucking good artists, I tell you what. But like, you know furries aren't the only fandom that makes porn, right? You know that. Yeah, I have zero beef with furries now. Let's see. Okay, so this is where the pre-concepting for the pre-concepting happens. Where I think Chubb laid out with his legs splayed like that. A very erotic anime pose. I think we can probably split this panel like this. Have Chub, foot, foreground. And then opposite. Yeah, let's opposite. We'll just have Coney here. So he's a really wheedly, lanky kind of guy. So I'm trying to contrast body types as much as possible. Yeah, Otherkin is another thing entirely. I have mixed feelings about that. There's some blog posts that I would prefer to share with it. Because like it's one thing to be like, I identify with these supposed traits of this type of animal, and that helps me to try to get through my day. I mean, it's quite another to be like, no, I am literally a cat. It's like, But again, there were some blog posts about it that sum up my feelings about it a lot better than I think I can at the moment. I'm cautious about slagging off groups where people find support, but it's my concern and caveat is that like when you find support, if it's actually to get better or to just tune out the reality that troubles you so much. One of those is healthy. One of those is a flawed coping mechanism. Okay, so this looks good. I might actually just do like a cartoon like bonk panel and really cheat on this, just like clouds of dust. That might be silly. Okay, so then we have dialogue here. Now I don't quite know what the dialogue is going to be, but okay, I know what this panel is going to be. We will have, it'll be similar to what we had with Bandy. So this also is character building. Because we have Coney. Again, I'll need reference for this. Coney helping Chub get to his feet. And we can have as much dialogue as we want. Man, I'll tell you, I love Chubb's design, even though I did it, because his character reads at such an enormous distance. Like, if I draw him really tiny, he still reads. Ain't that some shit? So that's really good because the scale of the comic is so colossal. It's nice to have a character that will read at that distance. You're a tumbleweed. Chub or tumbleweed. Can you tell the difference? He's also really fun to draw, just how round he is. It's also kind of a nice change to have a main character who's big. I think I'm gonna go... It's weird because, like, I want to have a very diverse cast in this strip, but I want to try and accomplish that without it looking like I'm going down a checklist. So, you know, I'll probably make mistakes, but we'll see. Okay, so blah 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 blah. I might actually just do these two panels because I don't... Well, here's the weird thing is sometimes I'll concept panels in such a way that they don't actually have what the dialogue is, just there will be some dialogue and just convey visually where the scene's going. So Q's and A's, and maybe we'll just end up with a good old one-shot for some more discussion. Scratching head, maybe. Because I want it to be clear what's going on without the actual shit in the balloons. So I need the visual storytelling to work first, and then the dialogue will enhance that. So it's like they're talking about something. There's development going on here, and then the specifics. Based on a suggestion that someone made in the chat, the what was it? They're speculating on what the hell this arm thing is, and one of them's gonna be like, I think Chubb's gonna be like, what if it's Bandy's arm come back to haunt us? And Coney's response is like, no, that's stupid. She has it stuffed and mounted in her office. And I can't decide whether I want it to say safety first or safety fist. I think it's probably going to say safety first, and then somebody will vandalize it and have it say safety fist. I really love Bandy. I think she's gonna steal this whole comic. She gets so much good dialogue a couple scenes from now, because I wrote it all out. Because she's just this, like, sass machine. Okay, so that's 2 panels. That might be enough. Like, that'll get us through the week. Because I think I want to have more... You alright there? Is somebody shitposting? Yeah, alright. Let's see. So those 2 work. I need to think about what happens next. Because, actually, maybe I can do a 3rd page. and just like get these two off on a tangent, because I think I know what's happening next. Yeah, so this page here, not this yet, but that's probably going to be used. This is how you introduce props that you hadn't planned for already. Chubb is going to pull back his glove cuff to reveal a wristwatch. And they're going to check how much time they have, because they have work to do. So they spend a little time speculating on what the hell's going on. I think I want to have a panel with that safety first thing. Do I want to have another panel like I did with Bandy talking? It was you shit posted. Oh, you. Hey, it's never too late to start. My mom's in her 60s now, and she just started her autobiographic graphic novel, which I'm gonna do a shameless plug for. It's shit. What's the address? It's I think it's auroracomic.com. If somebody can look up Joan Stacy comic and find her Tumblr. So, it's like, it's you. Oh, I'm so relieved, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what happened? Well, some shit went down. Shit, you say. I think it's some more dialogue here. So we have like Chubb FG. Emphasizing, gesticulating, and then Coney skeptical. So much you can do with body language. So like, blah blah. See, she was just like right here, and this shit happened. It was fucked. So I think I have an idea. Okay, this should be a good exit here. So it's like Chubb, Coney, Chubb, leave, follow. Okay. IDK lol. Then I will need reference for this. Because wristwatch, look, dialogue, and then the two of them leave. What the fuck is this? I don't actually know how to frame this, but that's what I'm gonna do. It's like, they leave. Oop, you can't see it. Okay, so dialogue, check watch. Shit, we need to get back to work. They go together. But peering from a grate is a pair of eyes. So that's good. That's 3 pages. That should be enough for us to work on today. Fuck. We're having a good time. So that's thumbnailing for today. Excuse me. So get an actual page like here. Sharpen up our pencil. So I think I'm gonna need some more. I mean, I'm probably just gonna try and bullshit my way through this. What settings are we tired of seeing? I mean, fantasy, Europe, elves, dragons, goblins. Like when I want to see fantasy, you have. I think the thing is just like not fucking Tolkien. Okay, Tolkien has been solved. Tolkien has been done a million times. Like fantasy can be anything you want. Like anything. You could have a society that revolves around sentient books that, you know, trade in ink and paper. That could be your fantasy setting, you know? Just like, I think it's like a setting that sort of, I mean, it works because all the groundwork has been done. Yeah, I guess like high fantasy, but it's just like, you could do anything you want. Anything you want. You should read, like, when I think fantasy, I think of, like, Mobius, I think of, Orion by Masamune Shirow. That's some good fantasy. It's also got, like, a little bit of sci-fi to it. Okay, so we want panicked face. Like, let me be clear, if you like Tolkien, that's great. But you've got to admit that it's being done. And that some people, many people, would probably like to see something occasionally that is not just a Tolkien iteration or ripoff. I mean, like, even Dark Souls is more differenter than, you know, your regular high fantasy. And it yet still manages to feel classic, even though it's its own sort of thing. A fantasy that's very grounded in a historical medieval setting. I mean, like, there is such a thing as historical fantasy, which is just like these actual places and actual events that may have happened. Although, to me, I think it misses out on a lot of the potential that fantasy has. But that's just me. I like weird, interesting settings. See, doing digital panels means that I can overshoot the borders a lot and then just correct it. Well, it is definitely sci-fi. There's no magic, really. Okay, so now... Chubb's a big guy, but when he has to, he can go. So ditches his punt and the pull here. I don't know if I want to do that there. So there's going to be light coming from here, and this will be sort of the last of this area. I definitely want more stories headlining old people myself. Or even just like not kids. Like one of my, and I mean, these are probably the kind of comics that I'll just end up doing because fucking nobody else is. I wanted like a sort of classic fantasy group, but they're all like 80. So you have like the wizard and the barbarian, you know, cleric road, but they're all super old. and they're not as physically fit as they used to be, but holy shit, they're all smart and experienced and just know what the fuck they're doing. Topple some sort of young upstart villain. Okay, so this panel. Yeah, let's do this as an edge. So it runs. Yeah, fewer Steves, please. A dragon stole my boyfriend. But when I get there, turns out my boyfriend's a total butthead, so I hook up with the dragon. Oh, baby. This is gonna have to be moved down, which is annoying. I might do this panel separately. No, I can just add. There's a little patch on Chubb's ass that you'll only ever see when he bends over or falls. Okay, so see, I want to do like more running, but like maybe more tired running. So legs are not quite as far apart. I'm not sure if this works. Like, this actually just sort of looks like it's floating. You know, I'll do the same panel like this, but just head down, I think. Yeah, I think that looks better already. It's actually running harder. There we go. Oh, God damn it, I did it again. I like the speculation. People were like, no, I don't buy Jughead being asexual at all. I've been reading that comic forever, and that dude definitely wants to fuck a hamburger. As opposed to donut. I see what you did there. Okay, so run. I think I want to try and frame. That's really awkward looking. How do I make this more natural? I think I'm also going to draw Chub right here. Something about this is fucking... I feel like the objection to just like flagging someone as gay when it's not in any way relevant to the story, and by relevant I mean affects anything about the character, then I think the problem is that it could be construed as being tokenist. It's like, shit, we gotta get gay people reading this. This character, gay. He never does anything that would he scared the shit out of me. It's like I summoned you or something. Yeah, they're having a big
discourse.
The discourse.
I came here for the horror survival game that is the internet.
How should I frame this?
Hi, chat.
Hi.
Frame it in the plot or in the thing?
No, there's like a silhouette that he's going around, and I don't know how to make it look natural. I think maybe arm that way.
Such that the fingers are kind of pointing towards him? Yeah, that could work. So we're kind of looking at the heel of the hand and the fingers are going forward. It'd be weird to draw, but I think that'd be really neat. Yeah, no, that's cool. Hi guys! Like, here's the thing.
She's my problematic fave, by the way.
I totally am. I know and I'm fully aware that sometimes even just having, like, the token in a thing can be helpful to some people. And that's good. I like that those people will get a benefit out of it. But I see it and I'm like, there's no reason for the person like me to be there. We're there because of complete bullshit. And then I feel bad about it because it's literally shoehorned in. It's like, that's not representing me. I'm only there represented for appearance's sake. And even if that's not what the author meant, then it feels shitty to me because it's like, we're not doing anything. We're just there to exist as a thing. And yet, some people do appreciate it, so it's like, you can't say that it's worthy or unworthy entirely. It's tricky. Like, the option, of course, is to have many varieties of representation, such that there's a lot or a little. Like,
I guess maybe just
like
make
a whole bunch of shit, alright?
Make it clear that you actually were thinking about and gave a shit about this from the beginning, rather than just like, oh fuck, we've got to meet our gay
it's not
quota.
even that. It's like, okay, let me give a very specific example. There's an author who I read their fanfiction, and their fanfiction includes original characters, which I think is great if you make it interesting. It's like, oh, more stuff in the thing I like to pad out the thing I like. Great. And then one of them is a trans character, and it literally to me feels like they're there so that someone can be nice to a trans person, and that is literally the point.
Look at us, we're being good allies.
It's not that I think no one should be nice to trans people, but the first character we ever see interacting with them isn't nice, and then they're nice to this character, and I'm like, this is something that person would never do to anyone.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that it has an impact for certain people who read it. But to me, I'm like, why the hell are they doing that?
It's called plot manipulation.
Exactly. And every story has value to someone. That has value to the person who wrote it, and probably some of the people who read it. To me, I'm like, this is weird. And I'm wondering where the catch is because it doesn't feel real. So like, everything is not for everyone. That representation makes me feel really strange. So, I frankly just don't read it. Even though it has people resembling me in it. You know, because It's just like a funhouse mirror, basically. And it is made by a person who cares about the inclusivity of their plot. But the medium they're working with and the characters in it, I personally don't believe that that would happen in that specific way. They're bastards! What's going on? Like, if they were, like, cohesive and pleasant as a team and still bastards, I think maybe I'd have an easier time of it. And yet it doesn't really work out like that, so, you know, like... Yeah, like, okay, when it was like, oh, it turns out that was canon all along, but we never told you, it's like, then why was it important? Like, there's tons of details you have to leave out to make an effective story. And that's really unfortunate. Sometimes the character's romantic orientation is never applicable to the story. So they were a complete, like a giant homo the whole time, but it was never in any way relevant to what they were doing. So it's like, if you mention that and it never comes back again, why? And yet it's important to have that be a fact of people's lives. It's like, it's an art, it is not a science. That's the whole thing. Art. Fucking difficult, right? Like, man, I don't even know where I was going with that. But okay, so like, when J.K. Rowling said that Dumbledore had been, you know, he's a gay, but it was never mentioned.
Okay.
Well, he and Grindelwald had some sort of like doomed relationship going on, and at first I was butthurt because I was like, why was that not important enough to go in the book? It could have been in the book if we had gay in the book. The thing is, Dumbledore's not the main character. He's an old man. He's a teacher. His sexual orientation has no relevance to Harry Potter's life or adventures. Like, he was in the background with Grindelwald, and that's where that belonged. It could have been foregrounded a bit more. It might have gotten really weird. This was a book about Harry's adventures with his young friends. Okay, one of them could have had a gay relationship. I think that would have been great. But she didn't do it that way, and that's what fanfiction's for. So, like, you know, it's not for nothing that it was always a fact about him. Sometimes it doesn't fit in the work, and that's one of the shit things about life, is that sometimes there's no way to get the thing you want in every situation because it's weird. Like, yeah, I don't know. I'm no longer butthurt about that, because really, how would you fit that in the book? If something comes across as awkward and heavy-handed, then it doesn't necessarily get through to the people who need it. Because it doesn't feel like it belongs, and they're like, does it really do much more good if it's just shoehorned in to be there? Like... And no one reads the book the same way as anyone else, so like, who the fuck? Yeah, I think Dean and Seamus. You know, the entire fandom of Harry Potter has wildly diverse ideas about who could be doing who. So like...
Fandom divided.
You could have found a whole... You could have had Hermione and Luna, Hermione and Cho.
Oh, baby.
I have read some things in my time. Some of which are even hugely plausible, like, you know. I know, but then again, you could say that she was, you know, censoring herself if she decided not to bring it up and that someone found it out later another way. Like, you can perceive how she presented that information all you want, but like, it's a fact and we gotta deal with how it fits into what we know now, as to whether we like it or not. So. I don't know. I can't say what I would think of her intent this far in the future when I wasn't paying attention in the first place. I should probably try and follow the chat as it goes past. Yeah, like, we assume that there's a default, because often there is a default. We can make broad assumptions about people even though they're not true, because you have to operate based on something to get through the day. And B, because it's what we're always shown and told is supposed to be the default. That, I think, is the problem, is that it is reinforced as here are the normal people. You should assume they're like this, because that's what normal people are. So we need to have not normal people, but not in a way that, again, lampshades them as being exceptions, or, you know, sort of just weird added ingredients for spice. Like...
Oh, so exotic.
That one comic where, like, the whole comic, the guy was in a space helmet, and then he took it off again and he was black. And I think that was a pretty cool way to do it. It's like you spent the whole time, and the reveal was, guess what? Just a dude.
You were
but
cheering.
He's black,
yeah. Well, I mean,
and you never knew.
That was also done what, like 50s or 60s?
Yeah, like it was a big surprise then.
It's like,
because you would
whoa.
have expected anyone to be in an important.
They must have gotten some letters.
The dominant white paradigm. See, this is funny. I started thinking about this recently. Like, yeah, people complain about the presence of more diverse characters by saying that is pandering. Because that word is a bad thing, and you don't want that to happen.
Okay.
But if you consider that works are written mainly about and for white people, because that's all anyone will accept, that's the definition of pandering.
You've been
So,
pandered to your whole fucking life.
Yeah, you can't just take the thing you're doing and say someone else is doing it and have that be true. But if no one's paying attention, you can fool them. So
It's pandering when it's not for me.
yeah, turns out it's pandering if you never do anything different because you think that no one would ever pay you money for it, and you have to coddle them into giving you their hard-earned savings. Because that's your whole industry. That's actually really sad. Because then nothing different ever happens and everyone gets fucking bored. But this is all they're told is acceptable to have. This is all you're gonna get. You better like this. This is the good shit. Except that it's boring as dog shit. So.
This is the good shit. You know that because we told you.
Oh god, too many different usernames. I can't focus on words.
You chose this path.
No, it's true. My life is the internet line. That's, yeah. And then, like, one of the problems you'll end up snowballing into is when representation starts to happen, because it is so seldom at first, it must be perfect. Because it might be all we get. There's so little. We finally got this one thing, it has to be perfect, and the thing is, the people you're representing aren't perfect. And so you get sort of the narrative of the good minority. And most of us are not. So you depict someone's real life to give them representation, you're probably depicting, like, a problematic actual human. And then you have this representation of a not perfect person, and then you have to attack the representation you've got for depicting an actual living human instead of like a perfect idea that we could show the majority.
Well, it would be
and
like,
it's just like, well, now we're fucking ourselves over.
It would be like saying that Celeborn is an ableist character.
Celeborn has a fucking mental disability, okay?
Yeah.
He's an asshole. He also has like a mental
No, but what I mean is like having a character with a mental problem who is also an antagonist is like, well, you're just saying that people with mental abilities are awful. It's like, no. We're casting him in a role that he would be in anyway.
I think it makes him a humanized character instead of a cartoon villain. Because he could have just been like, literally the worst, with no seeming, relatable features. Like, completely unapologetically hateful, so it's like...
He's
just sort of like a flat cartoon, which is how he started out.
Yeah.
He started as just this symbol of badness who was like an unapologetically catastrophic deal. And then you find out that he's just like working with what he's got, which is barely anything.
His long, painful struggle.
By being entirely hateful.
Yeah, his long, painful struggle with learning to become an enormously competent shitbag is so interesting.
Because he eventually becomes the most destructive force in existence. And that's the problem, is that he is eventually destroying absolutely everything, everywhere, all the time. But his genesis, spoilers, is that he's, this hateful alien beast who is stuck in perpetuity on a planet with one other person whom he will never see in person because they have to share corporeal existence, so only one of them exists at one time. So that's how he exists. And he's got, like, some kind of immortal nanny that doesn't really talk.
Immortal clown nanny.
So this is the environment you grow up in, as the polar opposite of someone you'll never get to see. Yeah, and then he becomes the villain.
So we're talking about the big bad from Homestuck.
It probably wouldn't even
massive
spoilers.
It wouldn't
even make sense to people who've read Homestuck, because the whole thing is fucking confusing as hell. Like,
no, Celeborn is incredibly interesting, nuanced.
I'm sorry I tried to explain Homestuck, this end so badly. Yeah, like, people come up with shorthands to say that this character is evil. The shorthand is they're ugly, or they're fat, or they're gay, or they're non-conforming. Something about them is the weird, and that means we can tell who's evil. But the thing is, those weird people still exist as variously good or bad types of people, and if you want to talk honestly about them, they can't just be one thing, because they never were to start with. Like, everybody knows shit's fucked.
I don't give a good goddamn.
It's essentially my life motto at this point.
Everybody
It's very
knows
descriptive of
shit's
things.
fucked.
Shit is fucked. But starting from that point, you have to go somewhere, right? So, man, I wish I were Homestuck. Do you know that every fan troll is canon? Every fan troll is canon.
According to Andrew Hussey.
Yep. Because they all died eventually anyway.
Whoops.
It's
Those people's
great.
fan trolls that showed up in one panel just to be annihilated.
So, the thing is, nuance is hard, and we all try to save time by coming up with heuristics of things that we see and understand. And the part that's problematic with that is when you rely on that as opposed to the evidence of your own eyes. So, like, you know, we have to keep looking at shit and make other people look at shit. And often you can just do that by tricking them. So you make art, and they learn when they didn't expect to, and then they're stuck with that. So that's pretty great. Like, man, you'll never change someone's mind just by telling them they're wrong, because no one agrees with you when you say that.
Nobody likes
You
being
know.
wrong.
No one, like, I don't like admitting that I made a mistake to people I trusted and known for years.
Hey, what's up?
Someone who's, like, actively, yeah, exactly! Someone who's actively convinced that you're the worst ever because you're wrong is not gonna get you to admit it in public. Like, that shit's hard. It's a process. And that doesn't mean, like, allowing people to continue to be wrong, but, like, there's ways and there's ways. Like, it's interesting. Yeah, I don't think albino can be considered a hateful term because it's simply a descriptive word for a type of person. But then again, I've been proven wrong about that, so... Proven! Fuck!
I'm glad you corrected
I can't think that word with proper pronunciation when there's other one. Anyway. Yeah, like, British accent means you're either a villain or, like, you're
Sophisticated.
kinda gay, or you're a gay villain, or maybe you're a rich gay villain. Which is weird, because there's a lot more kinds of British people than that, so... Like, that's what I get annoyed by people when, like, corporations remake shows from other countries to be the exact same show, but localized. Like, when Shameless was remade in America, like, okay, I understand remakes, but the show literally came out a handful of years ago. You could just have shown slightly different types of people in a TV show to your customers, but nope! We have to make this the exact kind of people they always see. Also, it's an excuse to remake a thing and, I guess, make money? But that made me mad, because the original one was good! And contemporary. There was nothing wrong with it. Why do you have to fucking remake it, just so it's not British? God fucking damn it.
You mean like how they remade,
Life on Mars?
no, Let the Right One In?
Oh my god.
That made
it
me
was such a good movie! It
that
was
made-
already a really good
That
movie!
made me so unhappy.
Even though it has problematic bits, like,
Yeah.
it's still a good movie! Holy fuck. I mean, I could see if you wanted to rationalize it as, like, you know, putting a perspective on, like, the so-called redneck poor people of America, because it's not like they couldn't use a point of view. But make a different show! Make a different show! There's room for a lot of different kinds of shows. You don't have to, like, re-flavor everything not flavored like you just to make it acceptable. That's so fucking boring! Don't do that. Oh man, a really long comment. Hang on, let me read this. I think I need to watch Mr. Robot.
What's
Because it
Mr.
sounds like
Robot?
it doesn't suck balls. Or at least not in a fun way. Like, it's a TV show. I keep hearing about it, and often that's sometimes enough for me to actually remember a thing and watch it later. I'm getting around to Jessica Jones, because, like, I've seen the gifs of it, and it looks entertaining. I like women who get to be actual, like,
Badasses?
relentless bastards. It's like, you're not a good person, and you're not enjoyable, but you're the protagonist, and we're gonna follow you around and watch you do stuff. It's like, yeah, alright, I'm here for that. You know? You have a protagonist who's not an ideal person. That's good shit. Canada's made some good shows, but like, perhaps not recently. I say having not had cable in 10 years. We had like a whole lot of procedural crime dramas. There was Da Vinci's Inquest. Like, I liked Cold Case Files, or Cold Squad, or whatever the fuck it was.
Too much ink on my pen.
A lot of shit is filmed here. Supernatural is filmed here, it's just not our show.
It's like New York, aka Vancouver.
Yeah, Jessica Jones is apparently pretty intense at times, and I appreciate that. Like, I want a show with like lots of ladies that's not easy to watch, or always pleasant, because you know what, that's how humans are, and that's good shit. And apparently it's still a Marvel property, like these are, to some degree, superpowered humans, or humans fighting crimes, I guess. It looks a bit more interesting than, what do you call him, Daredevil, although he gets beat up a lot, and that's kind of cool. I like a hero who doesn't succeed at every fight, even most of the time. That's good stuff. Yeah, but the thing is, the show is filled with people who are unlikable. I totally hear you there. That's why I don't really watch showcase shows anymore. Like, I used to watch Rescue Me, but I despised nearly every character, so I'm like, why am I putting myself through this? Whereas, like, with Jessica Jones, it seems like these are flawed humans, and they're unpleasant, but they're not all, like, entirely hateful human beings. They're humans with problems.
Problematic faves.
Yeah. I don't know where I can draw the line to explain that properly, but I feel like there is a difference there. And I've watched a lot of showcase shows, and I got real tired of it. So maybe it's just different things for different people. So
Different things for different. No, you must have the same thing all the time.
fucking what's his face? Dennis Leary.
Oh.
That guy.
Ugh.
Like, he's not a bad actor, but he's just such a bastard. He's really good at playing bastards.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't always enjoy watching bastards. Like, fucking, I watched that show and I got really attached to Lou because the guy couldn't catch a break. And he was unpleasant, but he tried his best and he kept getting shit on. And it showed no end in sight of him getting shit on, so I stopped watching because there was not enough Lou content in the show. I think he tried to kill himself at one point and it just, he couldn't manage that. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, dude. I hope you get more parts in the show that aren't awful. So. Yeah, apparently Deadpool is a good thing to go see. I might do that.
I might do that.
I feel like when Civil War happens, I'm going to refuse to see it on the first week because I don't want to give them their metrics. But I will go see it in theaters because I have to be on the internet.
What do you mean their metrics?
You know, when people say, oh, this was a good movie because of how many people saw it in the first week, I'm like, I'm not here for your information standards. I'll see it when it doesn't, like, I have a weird interaction with the information state. But I want to be able to use the internet during that month, so I have to see it in theaters, because I'll see it eventually on Tumblr anyways. I'm not sure how I feel about Civil War, but I'm gonna see it, so... Why would people be pissed about Deadpool being a fucker when he's canonically a fucker and that's why we like him? Like, sometimes you gotta work with the fact that a person's a fucker. What good is it seeing someone improve if they had nowhere to improve from? You know, this is the nuance.
You know what? You're right. I would love to see a character who's just a piece of shit who changes their behavior rather than just, I'm perfect.
You mean like Vegeta? He stopped murdering because it made his family upset. But he's still a fucker.
I know, that's much, like, redemption is way more interesting because then it seems possible.
It's complicated. Like, he would still murder people if he thought he could get away with it, but it makes his kids sad, so he generally doesn't.
It's like, okay, fine. And then he pouts in the department store.
He's not even truly reformed, he just changed. And in the end, that at least solves the actions part of his problem. So... Where am I at? What am I talking about? There was a thing. Right, okay, here's a quibble that I have. There's a post going on around about people are upset about there being some rape jokes in the Deadpool movie, so I'm here to set you straight as that there weren't any. And then they explained that there were, but they were like, the kind of rape joke that isn't hurtful. It's like, that is still a rape joke, but it's diffusing a thing instead of laughing at the fact that it exists, okay? There's differences. This is a really weird sort of compartmentalization I'm not a big fan of. If a thing isn't bad, it's no longer the thing. It's like, no, this is a rape joke that takes the punch out of that kind of situation. Please don't slice this so finely that it no longer means anything. We're allowed to have jokes that deal with a thing, as long as it's not like, haha, the thing exists and that is hilarious, okay? Like, that's kind of shitty, let's not do that.
Yeah.
There's levels to this. The fact that it's a deliberate falsehood to say there's no rape jokes is what cheesed me. Explain the thing? Explain why the thing is not what we were worried about. I would like that. That's cool. Yeah, I'm sure there's more fucked up shit than even just that, so like... This is also a bit of a strange line in the sand to draw. Yeah, I don't even know if the Deadpool movie is gonna be big on plot at all. It's like, we're here to see Deadpool do stuff. The rest is a framework for him to do stuff in. We sort of accept that and live with it, so... Yes. Instead of just being laughing at someone because they're gay, as the fact is, like, laughing about a situation that happens to a gay person. It's not, haha, you're a faggot, and we've pointed that out. It's like, haha, this thing happened to you, and you are gay at the same time. Like, the focus of the joke is important, not just the words that construct it, but how it is being projected to the human ears. Like,
the context. It's like, where is the joke? Who's the butt of the joke here?
Watching a tremendous shitstorm go down about, like, who's allowed to draw sexy trans people? Is it allowed ever?
Oh god.
If you draw sexy trans people, you're the worst. But if you're not attracted to trans people, you're the worst?
But don't be attracted to them if you fetishize them. Like, oh Jesus.
And I don't know how to explain to people that literally every pornographic depiction is an objectification. Because you're creating a sexual object for people to look at sexually. The point is, are you saying that they are worth less because of the sexy thing? Are you reducing them to solely that? That would be shitty. That's not always the thing. Like, I don't want this to get boiled down to, like, never draw sexy trans people because that's gross. Because guess what? That's the same problem from another side. And just, fuck, man. Like, shit's complicated.
See, so the problem with making this sort of statement, like people are too sensitive nowadays, is...
I don't think it's correct. People have always been sensitive.
Here's the thing, is that...
But they're going after the wrong things to solve the problem.
Can I do that?
Yeah, fine. It is your stream.
Some people oversensitive, obviously, but in a lot of situations where I hear that said, it's just like, oh, people are oversensitive, which is a way of saying they are in any way sensitive about anything.
I don't know why you're worried about this. I'm not worried about this.
They're detecting that.
I'm detecting a weakness. How dare you?
And apparently, acknowledging something in the first place is being oversensitive about it, which is very telling of what, the criticism is. That said,
there have always been people who, like, flip completely off the handle for literally any reason.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that there isn't a problem. It means that maybe they're not the ones to hear it from.
It's just like...
Tumblr is not proof of people being too sensitive nowadays. It's proof that the sensitive people now have more blogs than ever before. It's pretty much always been like that.
It's just as bad to be policing people for how they feel about something than it is for, I don't know, to feel about them.
Yeah, like here's the thing, okay. People, there was some article that I read, it's like, how to not have your feelings get in the way of race activism. And it's like, I understand exactly what you're getting at, and you're being fairly descriptive about it, but it's also being like, can you not have feelings about us when we are talking about us? It's like, okay, do you want people to not be emotionally affected by finding out that things are terrible? Because that would be a good response to finding out things are terrible. It's like, wow, I am affected by knowing how bad a thing is. Like, there should be nothing wrong with that. But also, like, making it someone else's business to reassure you when they're trying to deal with the fact that a thing is fucked up, that's rude, so don't do that. Like, there's layers here, so... Yeah, like, sometimes people are too sensitive merely because they have human feelings that can be hurt. And the solution might be that you tell someone to take a flying fucking rolling donut. The solution might be...
what?
It's a Kurt Vonnegut thing.
That's
The
really
solution
good.
might be to fucking moderate the website such that people cannot just come up to you whenever they feel like it and say they're going to rape you to death. Because that's not actually acceptable or necessary, and you shouldn't need to get used to that. Like, getting used to that should not be a prerequisite for talking to humans. Like,
we need to stop having these discussions, which are just people having a pillow fight with straw men.
well, that would
You know
be
what I
great
mean?
too.
Like,
But, like,
people are just like, people are too sensitive, or just like, people, should grow thicker skin, or like,
Yeah.
no, we should be
I don't
accommodating
think
for
saying
everything.
people
It's
are
like
too
those.
sensitive doesn't really give us
What the
anything useful to act on. Like, should people stop having feelings about a thing?
They need to harden the fuck up, man.
Like, what are we trying to achieve by bringing that statement forward? Should people stop being as affected by things that hurt them? Or, like, what is the action we take here? Because that's just like saying they should be allowed to say what they like to you because everyone does. And okay, that may be a reality, but it doesn't mean that it's a good thing that we're keeping around because it's fine and you get used to it. Like, the fact of reality doesn't mean...
Oh, I was wondering what was going on. We just have a rainstorm playing.
Oh, yeah.
Hang on a sec. I need a new album.
Yeah, it was the white tears thing. It's like...
Yeah, we should
you know,
probably just
if
stop
you make-
drinking
if you make
anybody's
someone's-
tears.
If you make someone's problems all about how bad it makes you feel, that is shitty. But people have human feelings that they experience, and they need places and ways to discuss them. It's just that there are appropriate places. Like, but it also sort of comes down to telling people, you need to stop having feelings near me because
Because you're making me slightly uncomfortable.
But simultaneously, don't make your pain someone else's problem when they have enough problems to fucking fix in the first place. It's
Well, I mean,
nuanced.
for various interpretations of who has enough, enough problems.
Who
It's
really
just
does
like,
have enough problems?
we don't want to let, some people just put their fingers in their ears and tune out important shit that they
that
are
too.
culpable or complicit in, right?
Yeah. There's
It's
plenty of things that it's
a
difficult
big
to
old
do, but it's still
clusterfuck.
not here. Listen. Courtesy! Can each and every one of us try a little more of that, regardless of who we're talking to or why? Please, that is my one wish for this year. Swear to God, only thing, please. Courtesy!
Gooby, please.
Like, even if you disagree, especially if you disagree, just less shit. Great. Like...
Come for the
Provide you
inking.
with the quality discourse that we have come to expect.
Guess let's not have a pain
Yeah,
contest.
like, God,
There was
how
a-
it looks to me from the outside,
Did you see
or sometimes the inside.
Clay did a depression comic where two characters are actually having an oppression Olympics? It's not literally oppression Olympics, but
Oh,
two of them are
no.
put in a ring, and they compare how depressed they are, and one of them is declared the winner.
Like, okay, here's
It's
how it
like,
is.
could we not?
Like, this phrase does not fit exactly, but I'm bringing it up because it's very memorable. Is this bit in Venture Brothers where he's talking about his two kids, he's like, you give them an inch and they think they're a ruler. And, okay, that's kind of glib and parental, and it's not truly irrelevant, but think, you have a group of people who have been systematically, denied a place to talk, denied importance of the things they say. I try to avoid buzzwords because fuck them. But, like, people treated as less important because of a thing about themselves they can never change. And then they find a place where people will take them seriously, at least more so than the average. And if you're in charge, then you might as well keep going with that. So, like, you get people, like, fighting tooth and nail to be treated as more important because they were less important. And it ends up being exactly the same shit that was being done to them, but now it's okay because they're doing it. And
It's
I'm
their
like,
turn.
you need to not do that under any circumstance. Like,
But tell
I don't
that
think you should
to...
ignore people for being too mad about shit, but if you're gonna, like, actively and viciously abuse someone, I don't care what demographic you come from, that's really fucking shitty. You need to cut that the fuck out. Like...
There are no acceptable targets.
Yeah. like, people say tone policing like that's an argument ender, but, like, you can't fucking scream at people and expect that to be any kind of worthwhile conversation. That's literally just you screaming at a person. Like, I can't handle it. It gets really, really bad sometimes. It's like, you're supposed to be on my side, and here's what you do to people that don't toe the line. So now I'm afraid of you. You know, at least I didn't expect any better from the other people, but I expected a little better from you.
Can I just say that social justice infighting makes me deeply, profoundly unhappy.
Like, you know they're trying to kill us anyways, and we're doing their job for them. We could not do that.
This front leg is fucked.
He's got a pointy foot!
I'll fix it in post.
If you give it like a little tab on the bottom, it looks like his toe.
Oh well.
I'm trying to get back in touch with what's going by on the chat! Yeah. Like, I don't know sometimes. Like, if you have the privilege of one thing, you don't deserve the privilege of kindness. But you know what? Literally everyone deserves that privilege. And it feels good to be able to exercise control over that, to say what a person deserves or doesn't. But just because it feels good doesn't mean that it's gonna, like, actually help anyone do anything. Maybe you shouldn't always do that to people. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just a power trip. You know? And it'll be power trips against people that already agree with them and didn't toe the line in exactly the right place. So you're destroying the people that are supposed to be working with you because you had a chance and you took it to shit on someone.
I'll tell you, the really awkward thing is, like, you're correct that people need to treat one another with courtesy, but
courtesy doesn't
how do
mean people get away with
how do I say this? People who have been shit on their whole lives, I don't think would receive the feedback, you need to be more calm.
No, that's not what
Terribly
I'm trying to
well.
say.
No, but that's how
it's perceived.
how it's perceived.
You dare to tell
It's
me
like,
a thing when I finally have the freedom.
It's like, I know you've been oppressed, honey, but you just need to, like, bring it down a bit. It's like, I will murder you.
You need to not make it worse. Because, like, here's the crucial point. If you're saying that it is bad to do this thing to a group, and then you decide that it's okay to do it to some people, then your argument loses any possible weight it could have had. Because it's okay sometimes, it's just a matter of who does it. And that, it destroys your entire point!
Yeah, I think what I was
Like,
talking about was specifically
anger
just
can
being
keep you
angry.
going when there's absolutely nothing else, but anger can also fucking poison you to death. So, like, making it your only source of fuel, it's gonna kill you, and it's gonna alienate you from anyone you were close to, if that is all you've got going for you. Like, you can't let it own you, because that's literally all it'll do. This. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, often, like, the thing is, people will use this as an excuse, like, oh, you're angry, therefore we shouldn't listen to you. It's like, no. That's not the thing that means you should stop listening to a person.
I'm angry because people keep saying
But,
I'm not worth
like,
listening
people
to.
base their decisions on what feels safe and what they can handle at the time. So it's always a back and forth figuring out of, like, what the hell do we even do about this? Because, again, like, using your anger is legitimate, you have the human right to feel it, but do you want the things you do with it to work? Like, that's why the things often called tone policing are, to me, useful information that doesn't need to be ignored, because you know what, do you want to be right? Or do you want to win? Like, I'd like to fucking win! And that means not vigorously shitting on anyone who is available to do so the instant I can. Like, I don't have a written down thesis of this, which is kind of random, but Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
It's not easy, and like the people who aren't on top will always have to do more work because they're coming from a worse off place, but I want the work to count, you know? It's super fucking important to me for the work to count, you know? People that tell you that forgiveness is unimportant because you need to earn it. That's not what forgiveness is. Forgiveness isn't permission. Forgiveness isn't ignoring the next thing that happens that goes wrong. Forgiveness is for you as a human being. It does not mean condoning anything that happens in the future. People who say that it is are using it as an excuse. So don't let them do that, right? Don't let them do that. That's shitty. That's how bad people have an excuse to never change. And it also uses it to hide people that you know they're doing bad things. If you can never forgive them, you can't admit what they're doing. So they get to keep doing it. You know? Hi, I'm Kim. I live here. Yes.
You live here.
Yeah. It's... Sorry, there's like 3 different people in the chat. And I'll pause and try and sort out who's saying which. But, see, this is, like, I feel like I should be incorporating more of the things that go by, but they go by in pieces and really fast.
Who's
So,
the talky person?
I do my best. Man, you get me going, and I probably won't
She's
stop.
the discourse fairy.
I have discourse fever. It's from the 70s. Man, apparently the 70s were really shit time. God damn it.
Yeah, Hero wasn't great. It's like, what are you flagging for? Don't kill me.
Basically. I don't know a lot about American history, but it started going downhill after the 60s.
Well,
And then in the 90s, people started realizing again there was a problem, and now we're sort of back at that.
I mean, for various interpretations of going downhill, the argument could be leveled that
My
it
incredibly
went.
basic knowledge of US history. Anyways.
You know, there's a lot of different axes that could be construed as progress or regression,
Yeah.
right?
But
Just like, hey, this thing got better, but this thing got worse.
well, okay, here's, the Rose Patrol mentioned a very salient point is like, if men are worthless and are already bad people preemptively, why do we have feminism? Because they can't change and they'll always be worthless. Like, why are we trying to fix them? We're trying to fix them because they are humans like us, that you talk to human people and you try and change the way human people live.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they were worthless, we'd just have to go straight over to matriarchy, and that's also a problem, because we're not perfect either. So, yeah. I don't know, man. You can't just say that one or the other would be the right answer.
Male separatist?
I can...
The US has been going downhill since we kicked our ass in the War of 1812.
I don't know if I can stay on topic. I just call it kink-splaining.
Kink-splaining. That's really silly.
Although it'll probably rarely be about kink, so...
Where's the TOIDUS?
There's the...
There's TOIDUS around here somewhere.
Oh yeah!
Locate the TOIDUS! Thank you. Or you could not do that.
If you were a unicorn, this would be a lot easier.
You could...
Yeah, Alex is a pretty good dude. As an anecdote, he was like the one dude in our social group that just like was there. We didn't really have any other dudes because a lot of them turned out to be, I don't know, either not into the things we were into or
I don't know, man.
kind of upsetting.
For full disclosure,
and laziness, he was the only dude.
I feel as though I have historically been kind of a creep that is in the process of trying to reform.
The point is the process. The process is absolutely the important part. Like, there's
I'm gonna be
ways of
real with you, I
being-
did some really stupid fucking shit when I was younger.
I'm fully aware of this. I live with you, I remember these things. But like, one of the hallmarks of creepiness is not acknowledging someone else's boundaries and going past them. A lot of people start out like that. A lot of people don't know that to start. The important part is, can you learn? Because then you move past that. If you insist on staying that way, then you're purposely ignoring people's boundaries, and that's fucking fucked up. But like,
Fucking
to
fuck.
start out bad at a thing and get better at the thing, totally fine by me. Like, I don't think that creep shaming is a legitimate phenomenon. We need a word to describe that behavior. But at the same time, let's not label people we think are unattractive as harmful, because that's also stupid. So.
I mean, to me, creep is not an appearance thing, it's a behavior thing.
That's true. Some people do use it to mean like, this is a gross man who talked to me. It's like, that's a shitty way of thinking about it.
I mean, yeah, but...
But it's very useful to describe a set of behaviors that continue to happen and are often just thought of as okay.
It's just like any of those...
Some usages are very valid.
Any of those headphone plucking a-holes are just like, you're a creep!
No two things are not on fire. Like, there is nothing in this world that's completely useless, but there's often things that are a real bad idea. So...
The devil, you say.
I did things as a teen I'm not proud of.
What?!
Like... I could
Everybody.
probably actually remember them if I try. But like... Yeah, and the goal should not be to, like, distance yourself from them such that no one ever knows, because only then will you be considered acceptable. Like, that only pure people can be considered safe and fine. The thing is to learn and have people acceptable as changeable beings who progress. Like, that's one of my problems with social justice, is if someone isn't entirely pure, you must shun them. Because they are a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's super fucking terrifying to me. Like, you know, there are certainly circumstances in my own life that would make me one of those people. So I'm kind of worried about that. Same with my friends. Like, I got some pretty fucked up friends. I'm not
What?
just gonna tell them to fuck off, because they're my friends. You know. And the important line is not just, do they defy a social norm? It's like, do they do a harmful thing? Like, that's pretty important. I like the amoeba theory of the society.
What?
Well, I mean, and there's always a pendulum effect. Like, you'll go back and forth from one extreme to another. It always happens. Like, I guess what I want is for the swing to become less severe. So, like,
Ooh.
we're not going, like, right to fucking, you know, Handmaid's Tale conservative breeding marriage universe. And we're not going straight to, like, utter chaos, liberal, no one knows what the fuck they're doing, people get away with things because you don't know what the lines are. That's also stupid. Like, man, liberals have done some fucked up shit. Like,
No, they're perfect.
it's horrifying to me to find out that my side is just as capable of doing really heinous things just by omission, you know, and that it's being on a side doesn't mean you found the right way of doing things.
Also, the idea of sides is maybe not even necessarily that useful.
Man, you know what? I just feel like sympathy for people who need the male gaze, because it's what you've been told is the assessment of your worth. So, like, these people are trying to feel like they're worth something. They don't know that their metric is fucked up. Like, that makes me real sad. That you ought to know that you're worth something outside of how many dicks can go in you and when.
Male
Like,
gaze? Is that when you... That's when we check the post box at the front.
waiting for the
Wow!
packages to arrive. But someone mentioned Barbie. Hang on.
I'm dizzy.
The Barbie TV show. Like, when Charlotte and her friends still lived here, we watched a little bit of it just while we were eating, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be really weird. And it was really weird. It was stunningly subversive. Because you had, like, Ken flittering around worrying about how he was gonna, like, do all these things for Barbie, and she was, like, off doing science in her convertible. And, like, I think the creators realized that they're showing this to, like, 4-year-olds, and it has to be, like, not as shitty as possible. And it turned out being, like, pretty fucking weird, in a way that I think is good. Like, actually challenging what you might assume is the thing being told to you. So, if you think you can stand the bright pink, you know, watch an episode, see what you get out of it. Yet another unrealistic goal for male. That's incredible.
What?
The male system, as in...
God damn it.
This is beautiful, I love it. There we go.
This is really
yeah,
badly
we could do a
drawn.
podcast of me just, like, not failing to stop talking, but I don't know that it would stay on any kind of topic is the problem.
Some people like that. Okay, so some people don't mind meandering, wandering around. Some people get so mad.
I find it really distracting. I can't listen to it usually unless I'm talking to a human person. Like, I can't usually do.
I mean, it's a fascinating difference because
I can say it.
when we did our horror panel, I thought it was really great, and we talked about all sorts of cool stuff. And one of the comments was, "This was incredibly hard to watch because you kept going off on tangents." I was like, "What? But that's great!"
Yeah.
Oh.
That's true. Oh, I like Iron Daddy Roy. I don't know if you can click on your link, but I read one of her books. It was pretty good. Yeah, like, the thing is, I think it helps to know ahead of time what you will be listening to on the podcast. Like, will you be listening to stream of consciousness people having a conversation? Or will you be listening to a linear discussion? Because if I don't know that, I can't know if I'll be able to do anything else at the same time. Like, I can't listen to a new unfamiliar thing and do a thing unless one of them is really fucking simple. So, like, that's why I just don't listen to podcasts, basically. Where are we at?
Only you can answer that question.
I don't think I can answer that question.
Look at that sexy man.
That... So, are you some kind of Playboy bunny? You love me! Good times. I think they're just talking about Halifax. So,
What?
which is fine. I've never been. I hear it's a place. So, I hear it blew up like 100 years ago. That fucking sucked.
Shit, we should make him the sex appeal character.
Oh, please do. Please do.
He's just like accidentally doing a whole lot of like bending over.
Like accidental cheesecake.
That's really funny.
That's good to know.
I kind of imagine him as being a slightly blissed out character, a little bit like Neil. Oh
Yeah,
wow, man.
or kind of like Morgan when he's not mad.
Heavy. Bah.
I was trying to think of anyone else I could compare to that person's scene. Like, kind of like Amy. If Amy weren't paying attention. I don't know.
I guess.
Trying to find archetypes for these characters is really tricky. So. Lord Hosk, I think you may be a little bit off base.
What? Maybe he's off his rocker.
Like, that point of view is always going to be appealing to the human brain. It's always going to be super appealing, because the thing you don't want to hear about is that some people don't have the time, or the wherewithal, the attention span, like, the IQ level, to grasp all these fucking bullshit things that we spend our days talking about. They don't have time. They're busy, or they're tired, or they've just never been able to comprehend at that level. So they take what they can get. Sometimes they take the wrong thing, but it was what was there. So, like, we could put something else there, and maybe that will help out. But eventually everyone tries to go for the time-saving catch, and some of us more than others, right? So I feel like maybe social justice is reinventing the wheel, because this sounds all like original sin to me. We're all fucking fucked up. We all gotta deal with it.
You mean that garbage where they just pinned everything on Eve?
Basically. I'm not
What
saying
a
that
load
was
of
a perfect system, but like the idea that everyone begins as flawed and you have to fucking work around that, that's not a bad
I'm
idea!
gonna make this perfect garden, but I'm gonna put a forbidden thing in there. And somehow not be able to keep Satan out?
See, I feel like that was just a way of trying to explain why suffering exists if God likes us.
Mm-hmm.
But people have reinterpreted it to me as like, this is where bad things came from, and I don't think that's necessarily the point. Like, guess what? Sometimes things are misinterpreted. So,
what?
like, the more I hear about people learning social justice and just how to treat each other, the more I think that we've been here before and we forgot about it because someone, like, it was a game of telephone and we had to come up with it all over again, right? Like, you know, the shit is in the Quran. Like, the Quran is a system of laws meant to...
No, it's a terrorist handbook.
Decently. It's all about, you have to take care of the poor, you are kind to animals, like, there's some rules in there about what kind of sex you can have with your wife, but it's also like, this is how you disperse your inheritance, this is how you must treat guests and strangers. Like, it was a code of laws, it's religious, you know, and then people don't read it and they think they know what it's about. So. I mean, I have one in the living room, I could go read it, so. And that's the story of how I lost my room. Where are we at? No, I think Lilith was the first, like, opinionated lady. And they decided
she's
to
got
make
opinions!
Ladies. So
Burn!
they made another one who didn't have opinions. She was the first problematic fave. And, like, I have to give the Jewish orthodoxy props for, like, really, really thinking everything through and, like, having a billion discussions about everything. Such that when they come to a decision, it's probably fairly reasonable because they spent so long on it. And that's pretty much the way to go. Like, that's how the Quakers do it. They don't make decisions fast, but they tend to get it pretty close when they get there.
Alright, we finally have an answer. Where did everybody go?
Everyone's, like millions of years old.
We're so bored! So bored!
Man.
Oh Oh dear.
Yeah, I think Catholic schooling is then like possibly one of the worst applications of that, because then you're trying to take a nuanced way of understanding people's faults and like strengths, and you turn it into a system to make kids act right, and you tend to apply that with a stick. And I'm like, I think we've gone off the rails here. This is now no longer the kind of usefulness it used to be. And yeah, also like the things that scholars have come up with to explain how things were the way they are, and they have to be. Like how Mary, I think, was also without sin, despite the fact that she isn't Jesus. She gave birth to Jesus, so we have to make her better.
It's transitive properties of being sinless?
People can come up with really deep discussions about things. I can't. Fuck, I was on a thing and then it went away. This is the peril of trying to go stream of consciousness while also reading the chat. Yeah, like, no, I think a lot of, like, religions, at their genesis, the creation of that system is an attempt to try and make people act better with a system that makes sense. And like a lot of systems, assholes will fuck it up to get to keep being assholes, because that's what they like to do. So it's like a constant battle between these two ways of living. It's like, we could be less shitty, or we could be more shitty using the tools to try and do the other thing. Like, ah!
Yep.
Unfortunately, as you already know, people.
Yep. I've heard that uninstalling CatholicGuilt.exe is a very difficult process.
Yeah, it's true. Because, like, that's the thing about confession. You can only confess what you feel bad about. So they have to make you feel bad about everything. Because then it works. And you confess basically every detail of your life. Because if you don't have a thing to confess, you're suspicious. Because everyone has a thing to confess. But what if you just didn't feel bad about anything that week?
Confession
Or you had a
booths.
good week. You have to come up with something!
Confession booths, the OG peep shows.
Sort of. Like, I feel like priests were, like, they were basically the life counselors and dispute resolution people in their communities.
No, you're
if they
like,
did their job right.
right?
You
It's
know?
just like, shit's all fucked up, I'm stressed out, what do? It's like, you know, just like, settle down, meditate, you know, reflect on
Think
things.
about how sorry you are for 5 hours and then leave, okay?
Well, I feel much better.
I like that your confirmation
Just
initials
leave,
are damn.
leave your tip in the collections tray.
That's incredible.
Huh?
It's like, damn, you Christian!
What?
That's fantastic. Where are we at? The Flanman 5. I do gardening for a living.
She's a
I
landscaper.
transport tree garbage in large buckets. It's pretty great. It can be really gross. Like, the thing I tell people is that feel when you find the cat's favorite place on the property, and the client doesn't own any cats. Cats will just find a place to shit. That's probably where you're gonna work. So, that's why you wear gloves when you work. It's very crucial.
Alright.
So I'm technically blue collar, I guess. But
Green color.
yeah, I guess. Where are we at? Something about repression. Yeah, like, fuck, repression's a bastard. Because repression can happen no matter what discipline you're coming from. And, God, it's thorny because there are some things that a person ought not to do. If you're forbidden to talk or think about them, you'll never be able to deal with them in such a way that you can handle them as a human being. Like, this is honestly why dark humor and, like, violent video games comics are a good thing. Because you get to think about that in your human mind and deal with it in a way that isn't waiting for a real, like, opportunity to do it in life. Because that's the only way you can possibly handle it. Like, we need our brain expressions to deal with the things we're not allowed to physically express. Sometimes they're shitty, but if we don't talk about that, we can't make the differentiation of what is public and what is not until someone does it, and then it's like, well, I guess they got away with it. You know. Let's just start a conversation right in the middle. Alright. I don't think Sunday is Satan's Day. I'm pretty sure you got that wrong.
Satan's Day.
Yeah, there's a lot of awesome priests out there. Like, you cannot judge an entire group by its assholes, but if you let the assholes get away with it, people make some really understandable conclusions. So, you gotta stay on top of your group. You can't let your group get away with things just because you like them. That's real important.
This page is all about holding foreheads.
Nice. Essentially touch his face.
This is really cute.
That is really cute.
It helps his buddy out.
You should give him an 8-pack.
What? You'd never see
Make
it.
him shredded.
I heard the Coney had an 8-pack. Coney was shredded.
I love that 8-pack is a meme. I love it so fucking much.
No. Okay, if you could see through his suit, he'd have like the longest pelvic creases imaginable.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know what they say about rabbits, right?
no.
They fuck all the time.
God damn it.
Although apparently rabbits are more matriarchal than you would have thought, and the women will beat you up if they don't want to fuck, so that's pretty great. Yes, it's possible to not know that you're trans, and the narrative, unfortunately, is that you've known since you were 3, and some people don't. Like, you just think everyone's miserable slightly all their lives, and it's like, wait, I don't have to be? That's
what?
the thing. Like, unfortunately, there's a whole spectrum of life experiences you can have, you know, and not be the same as this other person that you're quite a lot like, so. Man. Shit can be weird. Ooh, oh, my back just cracked.
Crunch.
I don't... You may be correct in that Lucifer is the angel associated with light, but I don't think the days of the week are named specifically for angels. They're named after Norse gods.
I also
So,
want to...
like,
I'm gonna give you a spoiler.
Satan, not a Norse god.
That shit was made up in the first place.
The names of days? Yeah, I know. Yeah, like, honestly, the point is that people are worshipping on a given day. If the given day was named for a weird thing, that doesn't necessarily make them Satanists. I believe they call it a fallacy. Because, like, if they were worshipping on that day specifically because they thought it was Satan's day, maybe that's a bad idea. But if they didn't think it was Satan's day, then how could it have been motivated by that? Like, this is the thing that they got into in Corpline, is like, they didn't know Alex was on the ballot. They didn't actually vote for him. Why are you counting that as a vote for
idiots
Alex?
weren't voting for a train, you were voting for a train.
So good.
Some people were asking who Richard Thurston III is, and I have positively no idea how anyone could not figure that out.
Particularly, like, it could be Ian, but it's pretty obviously Ian. Like,
Well, I think it's the pitch shift that throws people off.
yeah, probably.
You'll also
And
notice...
the accent, like... Like, okay, when I lived with a young genderqueer individual, they were describing
Susie?
this documentary they watched. No, I lived with Emily.
Oh, right, her.
And they watched a documentary which I have still not managed to get around to called Diagnosing Difference, which is, like, there's this huge, massive shitstorm among trans people, which makes me sad in the first place. Like, is having dysphoria a requirement for being a trans person? And most sensible people will be like, it's not a requirement, but it is often present. And some people are like, no, dysphoria is not a requirement, and if you say you're dysphoric, you're somehow anti-trans?
Wait,
because
what?
It becomes such a straw man argument that you can't tell who's talking about what. Like, some people are so uncomfortable with their physical parts that they want to kill themselves. Some people are not. That doesn't make them different kinds of trans. It means they're both trans in a slightly different way.
In the same way that two different people could be also human.
Yeah, like, it's true that the person who feels like they're going to kill themselves because of their parts probably requires medical intervention more than another person. That doesn't make one of them not trans. Like... Am I confusing people? There's a lot of whats, and I don't know what's going on.
I think they're confused about the Aldersman voice,
Oh, that makes sense.
maybe.
Like... Yeah, it's toxic, because the thing is, there's such resistance to thinking that people should be allowed to change themselves by people who've been told all their lives this is who you are, that getting anyone to be allowed to change is a struggle, but that doesn't mean we should be then gatekeeping who gets to change, because that's also shitty. Like,
Yeah, that seems
here's
also
the thing,
kind of
like, I'm pretty sure that
counterproductive.
the thing that trans people and cisgendered people have in common is that they both have strong gender identities. They know who they are, and we have to take their word for who they are because they've told us. Some people don't. Some people genuinely don't have a strong sense of gender. I fucking don't. Like, and those are people who often end up saying that gender doesn't exist.
Well, how
So why is it
convenient
so
for
fucking
you.
important to you?
How
Yeah, because
convenient for
they've
you.
never experienced it. But then the thing is, that's like saying that trans people don't exist. Because they must be making it up. And we know they're not, because some of them fucking killed themselves over it. So there's obviously something there, right? So, plenty of cisgender people have a strong innate knowledge that they are the thing that they're supposed to be, and that's fine for them, they've always known that. Some trans people have a very strong knowledge that they're not the thing they've told that they're supposed to be, and that's a life fact for them. Some people don't have the strong sense, so maybe they go with what they're told and they're fine, or they change what they're told and they're fine, but we have to just trust what people say they are as their internal truth, because that's all you can go on. That they know who they are, you know, and it's actually a real thing that exists. So it's really embarrassing seeing people try and argue that gender doesn't exist because they don't have it. Because it's like, there's a lot of people who do, so I think perhaps you may be wrong. Just a little. Yeah. It's when the pendulum swings too far. It's like we had to try really hard to get to this place, but we kind of overshot, and now we're doing a thing that hurts a whole bunch of us. We shouldn't, so...
Is that sort of like how the extreme with gender itself is, you know, it's just like there is no biological component, it's entirely a social construct,
well,
and other people are like...
Animals technically don't have gender, because we can't ask them how they identify, and they don't have a society. It's like, I'm pretty sure that there is something there in animals that sometimes changes and is sometimes different. Like when you have, you know, there's species of fish and insects that go back and forth. There's birds who take on different roles and have different plumage. Like, the whole world is fucking weird as shit. And unfortunately you can't make a simple rule out of that. Like, yeah, Arclight Dynamo was got, but I didn't go there. Like, here's the thing, gender roles, socially constructed because we're lazy and some people are dicks. Gender.
The women do the cleaning, the men do the getting blown up.
For a lot of people in different ways. Like, yeah, and like, trying to draw firm lines on living human people it's gonna harm plenty of living people. So, yeah. And there's animals that change roles. Like you have like I don't know. You have animals that defy our rules, animals that defy their own usually observed rules. Like, we're all pretty weird. And the thing is, anything that happens in nature is natural because it has happened. So, that distinction
natural is such a loaded term. Strictly speaking,
they should be saying normative. It's like the thing that I wish to be true all the time, and that has been true most often. They're not actually meaning natural, because that's a lie. Yeah, no, I mean, one of my favorite sci-fi books is just everything has a weird interpretation of sex or gender relative to us. It's great, there's a whole bunch of them, it's just part of the book. It was a really good book. I like it quite a lot. Honestly, I find, like, science fiction that does not challenge any sort of norm ever to be, like, immensely fucking boring. Like, what are we doing sci-fi for, if not that? I read... Christ, what is it again? Let me think. The one with the ships, the ancillary...
The one with the ships.
The ships that are people. I read that, I'm like, this is what I expect science fiction to be. I'd probably read more if I could have some assumption that it might be close to this. Like, you go sort of in medias res into the middle of things. Probably in space, doesn't have to be. There's some kind of weird gender or biological shit going on. Like, humans, but not humans as we are. And then I'm like, this is my jam! Let's read this! Let's read all of this! I'm still waiting for the third one on hold at the library. So, that's pretty great. I just, like, if you're gonna do a thing that's all about the possibilities and your imagination, and you don't use your imagination, it's just real sad. So. No, not Anne McCaffrey, but Anne Leckie. Man, it's just so interesting. There's so much fucking weird shit in, like, transhumanism and in space, and I don't really understand all of it because there's a lot of different brain shit going on, but it was really good! Oh man. Yeah, I think Doug Moon has got his finger on it. Or your finger on it. Again, I used a heuristic, my apologies.
A what?
A heuristic.
It's a heuristic.
A general guideline that you apply to things. Sort of to get through the day.
Did I want to give this... Okay, this is my first time drawing this character in...
I didn't realize it was ancillary justice that caused a huge stink, but I'm not super surprised. Either way, it's fucking excellent, and some people are just like, spoil sports, essentially. The prose was a bit awkward to read, but that's not necessarily all the thing that I'm there for, so... Yeah, that's probably about heuristic means. I was likely summarizing. Yeah, if that was a first novel, it's pretty fucking good. Like, let me just say. So, like, I've read more technically skilled books that were not half as fascinating or personally relevant. So, like, you're never gonna get everything out of every book. You need to get something out of a book, and you can usually get at least one thing. You know, so. Man, I have, like, extreme criticisms of the things I fucking love. So, like, yeah, you're probably never gonna find a perfect piece of media in your entire existence. It is still valid to have a complaint about a thing that you found enjoyable. Tiger nuts. That's racist.
What? Tiger nuts.
I think you're fuck, some kind of joke about species. I can't do it. It's not coming on.
See, I've seen tiger nipples, but no tiger nuts.
Like, there's plenty of books that work for people that don't work for me. Like, I never approached the Ender's Game books, and I probably wouldn't now, because, you know, the prose doesn't work for me, the ideas don't work for me, the author doesn't work for me. I wouldn't get any benefit from it, so I'm not gonna. It meant a lot to other people. That's great. Like, I would never deny that's true. So, tiger nuts sues for defamation.
What the fuck?
That's good. It always comes back to furries. Is anyone really
That's how we started this stream, was talking
I
about
think there have been
furries.
furries as long as there have been humans. So when we became distinct from animals, we were like, hey, hang on. What's that weird fucking shit over there? You know. Which came first, the furry or the human as we know it? Who could say? Question for the ages.
Ah, God, his hand is too fucking big. Oh well.
He's wearing gloves, it's fine.
His arm is also way too long.
Yeah, Ender's Game, it's weird. Like, sometimes an author can write a thing beneficial to the people that they ostensibly oppose, and they don't even fucking realize it. So it's like, what is he actually operating off of? That he came to this conclusion, and then the other ones that he operates by. How the fuck did this happen in his brain? That's real weird. Fur circle? Yowie heads. Yowie face! The giant monster men with tiny heads.
Moai?
I am shocked and amazed that someone with an animal name happens to possibly be a furry. I would not... How dare!
I mean, you could have fooled me.
This is preposterous. I don't believe it. Death of the author is super fucking useful, but I imagine it's really frustrating to authors, since they made it in the first place. But you can't avoid it, so... Yeah... See, being a person who's heavily into fanfiction, since it fulfills more of my fiction needs than actual fiction ever did, I say as though it's not actual fiction, Death of the Author is super valid and important. Because again, like, a story isn't complete until a person has read it and absorbed it into their brain meats, and everyone does that differently, so you're gonna get different shit out of it. Like, you know, that's just how humans work. No one will ever feel the same way about the thing you wrote. They can often get really close, and that's awesome. But, like, some people will hate it for reasons you don't even understand. Like, some people will love it for things that you really don't want to be there. That's the nature of the thing. Yes.
So this is not ideal, but it sort of works.
I don't think you can have works without Death of the Author, because then that's like saying that there is one right way to read a book, and then you'll just have plenty of people doing it wrong, and I think that's fucking stupid. Also impossible. So, let me think. Yeah, because I know that time was, like, most authors because most companies did post fanfiction. Because it's like, oh, you're somehow ruining my sales by sharing my work with your friends in a slightly different way, thereby spreading its popularity. So, like, you had... the only ones I can remember were women, unfortunately, which is Anne McCaffrey and Anne Rice. And, you know, super against fanfiction, like, vigorously so. And then you get, like, J.K. Rowling comes along, and she consistently and strongly does not fucking care. She's like, I refuse to prosecute people from this. I don't think it is worth legal action. People should be allowed to do this. And then it fucking blossomed, and you got, like, a huge fandom boost out of fanfiction just not being prosecuted heavily. And we have sort of arrived at the place we are today. And, like, you can also thank Stephanie Meyer for that. Because she could also have cracked down pretty fucking hard on all the shit. But she didn't. And that's one of the great things that she did. She's done a lot of things that I think are dumb. That was great.
You mean like Twilight?
I mean, the thing is, I don't feel that there's necessarily such a thing as bad work. If she writes this and we fucking are able to talk about it and, like, exchange ideas, then she has probably the discussion.
I think...
The thing is, if we read it and don't have any discussion, so some people hate it, some people agree with it, some people think nothing of it, and we never fucking learn anything. That's the worst part.
You know what I'll say? Is bad work is the kind of work that inspires no reaction.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, that, it's like...
Bad work doesn't say anything!
Well, yeah, that's like, everybody's just like, okay. Like, Stephanie Meyer's work pissed people off and was super popular, so I won't say that it's good, but I will say that I'll say that it's effective.
Yeah, and think about it, like, the reason that it got so popular means that it is speaking to people in some way. Maybe it's speaking to a thing they don't like, or that would be harmful in certain situations, but it's speaking to them. So if you just say we're refusing to talk to you, you've wasted that chance. What is this saying to them that we could be thinking about? Like, is it that women feel like they're only worth something when some dude likes them? What do you want?
You were close.
What do you want?
Toy displus.
Right. I just picked up the biggest thing I could see. And the thing is, like, if you were to write Twilight slightly differently, you'd have a really compelling and monstrous tragedy. So, like, you know, that's what fanfiction's for, is you change the focus and you make it compelling to a whole different group for whole different reasons. Like, it's really weird that people think they can own stories nowadays. Technically, no one owns stories, and the fact you think you can is really weird to me. Like, you can own a telling of it, and we should appreciate you for that and help you create more, but people don't, like, claiming you can own this thing that has gone into someone's head and changed. That's fucking weird. That's not really how it works. I forget where I'm going with this. I've kind of come to a different opinion on if I think certain works are harmful, because there's some things that I read and I'm like, this is fucking horrifying. And if people don't obviously perceive it as horrifying, I'm like, now I'm really worried. But, like, you couldn't talk to those people about the thing if the thing were not allowed to exist. Those people would still exist, they might still think the same things, you never find out and you never talk to them. Like, if a really fucked up work at least gets conversation out of us and we start thinking about things that we nominally assumed, it's a really good thing! You know, it's all about communication. Even though we think it's all about entertainment. So. Yes, dead dog, do not eat! I don't know what I was expecting.
What?
It's from Arrested Development. This term has become very useful in fanfiction to very clearly state what the dark fic is going to be. Dead dove, do not eat. Because the main character finds a bag in the freezer, it's a paper bag, it says dead dove, do not eat.
That's
he looks in it and he sees a dead bird and he's like, I don't know what I expected.
That's from Arrested Development.
We just said that.
Okay.
Yes. The point is that if you have labeled a work with dead dove, do not eat, and you then read it and are shocked and appalled that it has upset you, then we're gonna kind of shrug, because I don't know what you expected to find.
We warned you.
We told you this would probably upset you.
You were told. You ignored the warnings.
Basically. Like, because the thing is, I know that people genuinely create upsetting content. There's upsetting content I personally never wish to see, and would be fine if it continued to not exist, but it's not necessarily for me. It's likely that it serves a purpose, you know, outside of anything it might do or cause to me. But I would like to be able to not see it, so I can choose to do that. And if I choose then to go and view it and be upset, I've kind of fucked around, because that's stupid. Like, you have to, at the same time, take care of yourself. Like, this has to be a reciprocal arrangement. It can't just be that you expect people to only do what you like in public. But you can expect them to be polite. That's pretty reasonable.
Although what one individual considers polite as compared to another.
Courtesy! Be courteous when someone fucks up. Let them know what is going on, instead of assuming bad faith. This is super important. That's really like the very basis of human interaction. It's like, can we assume that people are trying their best, and if they're not, then we act on that information. But to not start off on the wrong foot, because you're not really going to get to good places from that. So.
I guess it just becomes difficult when you have so many interactions in such a way that they're all bad faith that you like the
and sometimes it's
like
hard to
the,
know.
the
like sometimes a person is asking an honest question which was phrased last week as an insult.
yeah, well, that's the annoying thing is like 99 bad faith questions, the 100th is in good faith, and you're like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh, fine.
It's really tough. I mean, that is part of the process of negotiating this. It is never actually a done deal. You know, we're all fucked up. We gotta live with it. You know, it's never not gonna be hard work, which is the worst part, but also kind of reassuring because it's true for everyone. So, very good. Yeah, label the stuff that I might be allergic to. I'm probably allergic to different things than you, and we can all stay out of each other's way. You know, if you try to remove all the bad things from the world, you will get things that people need to use to recognize the bad things. And that's fucked up. We need those to keep existing. Like, and you can't remove bad things from humans entirely.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
pretend they're not there.
That with
people
the cat
will simply hide themselves until they're, you know, miserable or dead. And then you've just prevented them from bettering themselves? Like...
That with the caveat that you don't go around shoving in.
Yeah, that's fucking rude. Like...
Although, of course, then where
it's
that...
a learned process to know where
then where that falls down is when people are just like, hey, could you not put your hate in the tags?
I'm sorry, I had an opinion
It's like,
that wasn't yours. People have decided then that hate is anything they don't like.
Yeah.
Which is the pendulum going too far in the other direction. Like, people will disagree, we have to permit that. You shouldn't be using it as a blunt instrument against each other. That's fucking stupid. But people aren't exactly like you, so you have to relax sometimes. Like... Alright. Yeah, like sometimes, like, a situation escalates just because no one knows what the fuck's going on and everyone gets upset because they're waiting for a fight or someone, like, it's a heated subject and they're waiting for it to go wrong. But sometimes it can be diffused and that's actually, like, an incredible thing to see because all of a sudden it just doesn't become bad.
Look, it's a simulation of fandom! Ah!
That's what we have Siege for, because he cannot actually be insulted by normal human beings.
Is that one of his superpowers?
He really likes it when people try to hurt his feelings. It's funny.
It's like, lol. You just said mean words about me. Lol.
He's also close to immune to rhetoric because it doesn't work on him. Like, the thing is, rhetoric fucking stumps me. Like, someone will make a statement and I will be unable to parse it because I'm like, I'm sure they think it's true. This is true in some way. Fuck! But quite possibly it's not actually true. It takes me a long time to work around that. It's not one of my strengths. When people make shit up, you know, and put it off as a fact, you know, I have to like think 3 times to be able to figure out that it's just their opinion and they're actually being assholes. You know.
Oh, fuck. I believe Coney does wear his ears for fun. The thing with a lot of the characters in Dregs is that they will be wearing strange outfits because who the fuck is going to tell them not to?
They gotta make their own fun.
They work and live deep underground, and several of them, like that's what Sam is going to be like.
Sam's great.
I'm pissed that I had to change their name, but whatever.
Who do you change it to?
To Sam.
Oh. Alright.
from Stevani. So it's like,
He didn't know that was
Steven
a name.
Universe! Fuck.
He just sort of came up with that organically, and then I was like, that's from Steven Universe. I was like, fuck!
But
It's
yeah,
incredible.
it's a character of ambiguous gender who wears a skirt and crinoline, way too many rings, and a cowboy hat and boots.
Yep.
And it's just like, I am going to look fan-fucking-tastic down here.
And they're gonna be a southern devil person.
Yep.
Because there's nothing more south than the sewers.
That was one of Kim's. I was like, oh my god.
You're welcome.
I hate that.
I think he must have picked it up through osmosis, because I did that once for the thing, and I just forgot where it came from. And then someone told me, I'm like, I've never heard of that. But I think I must have at some point.
How did I accidentally get
Steven
Steve on?
Universe
I don't know, I heard it.
Yeah. Sometimes you
I
hear
just
it
was
and
like, oh, this is great.
if you have no context, it just enters your brain as like a thing that exists, and then it comes back out somehow. Like, apparently, I think that this is how Helen Keller she was accused of plagiarism when she was very young. Because she wrote a children's story, which you'd think is pretty good for a blind deaf girl who's learning to write. She composed a story, but it was remarkably similar to an existing story, and they fucking like sued the hell out of her. A young girl for writing a very similar story, and she honestly had no idea what the fuck could have happened. Like, probably someone had told it to her, and she was essentially writing fan fiction, and they didn't take any of that. And apparently it was really fucking devastating.
We don't
for a
take
kid just
kind.
learning how to like fucking write stories. You know. Not a good thing to have happened in the world, so...
God damn it.
Oh jeez, steal more
Yes, please.
thing? There. Although I can't source that, and I wish I could.
Flawless
I got it off
masterpiece.
Tumblr.
Yeah, I got some.
There were shots of like a written work. So I felt like considering it as a fact. You can look it up if I'm wrong, I apologize. There's some paper. I thought you were talking about conspiracy theories for a second. Like, chemtrails?
Chemtrails?
Lizardman. IP law is really fucked up. Like, the fact that it is mostly, like, manipulated by Disney so that they can keep the rights to their properties is really fucked up! Like, that's just outwardly malicious. Come on, like...
Well, maybe not even malicious, it's just staggeringly greedy.
That's what I meant. Like...
I think, see, my interpretation of malice is just like, you just want to do shit to fuck shit up.
Chemtrails and...
So, here's a fun thing that I do in digital, to talk about the comic briefly.
Wait, this is your stream, go on!
These background elements I do in black because they will be highlighted, filled with a bright color sometimes, and then turned into a lighter color. So these pop too much as they are, but when they're done, they will pop less.
The Adventures of Chemtrails and Camp Miltsteel. That's incredible.
Disgrace.
That could be a podcast name right there.
Yeah.
Do you see, like, there was a Valentine's picture that went past on some medium I'm not aware of. It was... What was it? It was a picture of a canister of jet fuel giving flowers to a steel beam, and so you're like, oh, I'm melting! Like, fuck's sakes! That's incredible. And really stupid, and I love it.
Yeah, the jet fuel can't melt steel beams is the gift that keeps on giving.
I love memes so much. Because the thing is, like, they're funny, and they're very easy to share with people, and you can totally manipulate them to mean something entirely new. So they're infinitely adaptable. And it's just the best, really. It's basically weaponized ideas. And some of them are hilarious. So
It's like those memes.
sometimes you can't weaponize them. Like, I did see a bunch of, like, attempts at social justicing Spider's Jar, but it came off as, like, tremendously awkward, because they had to put more words in to make it social justicey, and then it didn't flow. And it was just like, it's not a meme anymore.
I like how you just...
Like, you tried! You get the gold star that says you tried.
No, you
But,
just, like, offhandedly made a Spider's Jar reference as if anybody knows what the fuck it is.
You should Google Spider's Jar and you will not be disappointed. Well, you might be, but that's not my fault.
Oh, fuck.
What
Okay.
comic? This comic. The comic he's making.
I think they were being rhetorical.
Well, fuck that.
Okay, now what? Fuck shit.
Statistical outlier.
Penis.
We should not have been counted. It's so adaptable. It's a great meme. I love shit like that. There's also a really long, like, Shaggy Dog Story version of Spider's Jorg, done in like a D&D style. It was really good. And I've basically just given it away by telling you that, but still. So good. I don't think there would be any pictures involved. I hadn't seen any. It was mostly textual, but you know. I'm sure people have made like... I think someone tried to draw him as a fan troll.
Spider's Jorg?
Yep. I'm just sure they made it a 6 and 6 letter name. But... I think we're still on jet fuel and steel beams, which is understandable. It's a hot topic. He's pretending like he didn't hear that, but he did.
Hmm?
Foxy Foxy.
This is just the joke that keeps on giving.
You need to tag that for tape. Oh god, fuck. Getting into the really awful jokes. Non-construction! Okay, what can we do with Cordy?
Hang on a second. There's something important I need to do.
Originated. Perforated. What? No, I'm trying to come up with like cardboard puns.
Perforated? I don't know if I want to go for.
Someone say King Sane. I'm not seeing the chat.
Don't worry, I'll get to it. I just need some important reference.
Can the chat see this?
No. It's probably for the best.
I don't know what you're talking about. So wait, you're gonna put the box in like a
Shh.
jumpsuit?
No spoilers.
No, put a park bench in there. Please.
We'll get to that! Don't give the game away!
Alright, fine. Is there any soda still in the fridge, or did you kill that?
I drank it.
Ah, fuck. Perforated asshole? That's not even logically consistent. That's a great insult. I like that. Parcel tonguing.
Really?
Damn it! Alright, we can add that to the list. That's good. Like, the best insults are just, like, saying weird shit in a derisive fashion, like calling them a soggy acorn. Or, like, a broken dishwasher. Because, like, it's not an insult phrase, but you're conveying that you think they're dumb, and it makes it an insult, and it's the best. Like, those are the best insults. I guess, maybe just because I'm fond of it. Like, shriveled ravioli. Filthy cup of mustard. Oh, Jesus. Stale Cheeto. This is... One of the box flaps over the back of the bench.
This is stupid.
This is incredible. Don't wear fire?
Fucking
You can
Yaranike.
call him a flaming ass bastard. Like,
Ass
just
bastard.
pile words together and express them as an insult, and there you have got yourself the perfect phrase. It's all the same anyways. This is a thing.
Let's see.
Man, I'm probably gonna go have lunch soon.
Well, what are you having for lunch?
I'm gonna make an egg sandwich. You don't like eggs.
God damn it.
I suppose I could save some of the bacon for you if you want some of the bacon. Butthead. Yeah, the thing is, your parents often try and tell you swear words are worse than they are so that you might stop swearing. Unfortunately, with me, it didn't fucking work. I think my parents wish they'd tried harder. It still wouldn't have worked. Like, when I was a kid, my mom told me that fuck meant rape. I'm still swearing a lot now. That was when I was like 7. I picked this word up somehow in like 1st grade.
My
Stopped me for a while, but actually genuinely incorrect. So, I feel like she probably knew that too, but she was trying her best. Oh yes, you even put in...
Yaranike.
Thing is, you can't lie too egregiously to your tiny human, or they'll just learn that you're full of lies.
Yep, and then none of the lies
This
work.
is why I'm generally opposed to Santa as a concept, like, because that's like a really culturally enshrined lie, and it's really weird when your kid realizes. It's like, so everyone thinks this is fine and cute. Okay. So you either absorb it, or you realize it's really fucked up. Where are we at? Yeah, basically, if the kid learns it's not an effective word, they'll probably stop using it. But, they're generally considered effective words. So, yeah, I know, parents are people, is the thing. That's the problem, is everyone's people, so they're kind of fucked up. And it's easy to look back and be like, that didn't work. But at the time, you haven't slept in like a day and a half, and everything's just going wrong. So... like, the most important thing, I think, is just to admit when you fuck up. As a parent, because your kids will appreciate and learn from that, that is what you do as a person who is responsible and in charge. You know. Meanwhile, over to the side, you got some butt boxing going on. All deliveries in rear. Yeah, it is really, it's gaslighting your children. Like, there was a thing on the radio, some girl in the States, and it was, you know, notable enough that that made it up here the same day. She knocked over the elf on the shelf by mistake, and so she phoned the police because she was so upset. And like, because her mom was asleep, and she didn't want anyone to know, because if you touch or move the elf in any way, you ruin the Christmas magic. And like, this poor kid who was like, what, 6? Was just like, she phoned the cops because a terrible thing happened, and then she was so embarrassed that she had to like push the cops out of the house. And it was just like, I feel for that kid. You see, he's over here bringing down the tone of the whole thing. Yeah, I kind of want that frame. I'm sure it is a feed them story, but I heard it on the actual radio, which I thought was hilarious. Some of the things I hear on the radio, like the announcer has informed us that the internet is a system of tubes. So that's made it on to like mainstream media. Also, it's a series, thank you very fucking much. That's really funny, like hearing 50-year-old men discuss the series of tubes. But only in passing, because they have things to do. The Elf on the Shelf is a brand spanking new Christmas marketing thing being branded as a tradition since like 3 years ago. And I find it genuinely horrifying as it prepares your children for the security state. So that's certainly a thing that people are making money off of. So I'm pretty sure my parents wouldn't have tried that if it had been around when I was a kid, and I'm super fucking glad, because I don't think I would have handled that well as a child. Either I wouldn't have fucking put any stock in it, or I would have been, like, legitimately creeped out. So it wouldn't have had any effect. I think we can legitimately call this hentai boxes, because hentai simply means perverted. So... It's the hentai shipping company!
This is so fucking stupid.
These are some very interesting packages.
I'm pretty sure this isn't against TOS.
There's no boobs!
But I said, this is the reason I put on my...
Shipping and handling! Thank you.
They
don't have hands, though. It's really sad.
No, I think it's funnier if they don't have hands.
Hentai boxes continues to happen and is unlikely to stop.
I think that this is just my thing. I think my sort of wind down from the stream is drawing hentai boxes, and eventually I'll probably have enough to do like a shitty coffee table book.
Yeah. Make it like a cardboard cover.
Wait, what?
You know, people are also doing like weird fucking materials for their covers these days. This is artsy.
Actually, hang on a sec.
I think the tongues is the funniest part. You want to do like one of those grocery crates with like the little punch outs for where you put your hands and it's like a striptease sort of thing?
Hold on a sec.
Ah! Lord Husk, you're doing the amorphous universe spirit work. That's some good shit.
What happened?
Well, I usually say doing the Lord's work, but if I don't technically believe in the Lord, it sounds really stupid. So, it's a phrase that implies a thing. I think it's worth talking to people about why you're not big on something. And you see, you managed to do that without, like, explicitly burning their elf on the shelf in front of them, because it's horrifying. And then they realized it was a bad thing. So, you know, well received all around. That's true, because you are Lord. Well, then I can use that phrase because it is not as blasphemous as I originally intended. So, warning, content will shift. Or like this way up, or this end up. Is there a pillow? Oh, I see. It's not a bed in a box, it's a box in a bed. Oh, the phrase in question I think was doing the Lord's work. But his name is Lord Husk, so...
Oh wait,
technically not blasphemy.
Hang on, I know. I'm gonna do those, like, super ineffectual hentai censor bars.
Over a certain part of the tape. The rest of the tape is still visible. It's only the legality. Oh, is there some part of the box that can't be illustrated because it's pornographic, so just all boxes don't have it?
That would be really funny.
I don't know, there's so few things on a box that figuring that out would be really weird. Anyways, maybe there's not a direct parallel. There was a piece of a cardboard that had been cut off of a box, I think, at a place where I worked, and they taped it to the wall because it was relevant. And all it said was, stop, think, and I think it was supposed to be like instructions on the box, but they cut it out of its context and just put it above somewhere where there was a tripping hazard. So that was some pretty great modern art.
Nice.
I was a fan of that.
Okay, what should I do in these corners?
Snails.
What?
I like snails.
But
Do snails.
that's not boxes.
Yes, but they're very erotic, so just go nuts. This is just an excuse to make me draw some.
We're gonna get some.
Now that it has censor bars, it's fucking weird. And I feel that. That is sort of how that goes. Like, I should have been paying attention to what now? That's weird.
We're gonna get some very Josh Lesnick style snails.
I sort of was feeling like, who's that green guy on Dragon Ball Z?
Piccolo?
Yeah. Piccolo snail. But he has a chin, more so. A box-shelled snail? That's a weird crossover. Yeah, I could be into that. How is this a Josh Lesnick?
He did some really pouty snails.
Interesting. I was not aware of this. Or nudibranchs, which are like snails with fabulousness instead of shells. Snails having none of your garbage today. Yeah, now the box has sensor bars, I am slightly more weirded out by it myself. I am positive there's an OpenF comic that relates to something going on here. There absolutely would be.
Can I just say that, like, my favorite kind of sensor bars are, like, if that's representing a dick, the ones that are, like, that.
Why is one of them going the different direction? Does that make a difference?
No, it doesn't.
Why aren't they going parallel to the dick? Why across?
It's pretty stupid.
I think if they went parallel, they'd actually interfere more with your
It's sort of like just following the letter of the law rather than the spirit.
Exactly.
Kink shaming a sphere.
Kink shame? Like, what kind of kink does this sphere have? Like, I feel like this is relevant. Okay, so it has like a swimsuit kink, an underwear kink, a latex kink. All right, fine. The sphere is a latex kink. It just looks like it has a face.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I know it would look like racing stripes, but that just makes the dick go faster.
Ah, shit.
So. They're basically naked snails. That's sort of true. Although it's interesting that it's a naked snail instead of a snail being a clothed slug. So.
There we go.
Yes, Tess doesn't visualize it. Yeah, glowing cones of light bypass the sensor bar entirely because it's not exactly a penis. It is in fact a pointed object made entirely out of.
What if he had a pointed stick?
You take the pointed stick and you use it sexually. Apparently.
I guess today is the day where we just like see what we can get away with.
That's every day.
It's fine.
It's like Pinky in the Brain, only it's. No, Kinky in the. No, I'm not gonna go there.
Kinky in the shame.
I wasn't gonna make that fun! It was too good! It's too powerful!
Wow! That's fucked.
Other podcast.
That's fucked.
He wanted to put peanuts inside me. Oh man. See, these are things I might not have thought of myself, and it's a sharing time. I truly appreciate this. See, if you guys can like entirely rewrite that song, we'll have to probably make it like an intro, because that would be too perfect. You would have to honor your wonderful creation. See, that kind of makes me think, I want to see, like, all of the pubic hair not allowed in hentai has, like, gone off and started a society somewhere. That would be hilarious. We should do that. It's not a very long song. I mean, I guess you could do a second verse. You don't have to. I sort of... What exactly is flapping around here? What kind of box dong have we got happening? Is this just one of his underside flaps being censored?
Probably.
This is weird. So when he extends his box sticks, that means that he is open at the bottom? Yeah, alright.
Loose tape. Hang on a second.
This tape is electric.
This is gonna be really awful.
I don't know, it looks pretty normal this one. Are they just launching packing peanuts at it? It's going everywhere. This is some classic imaginary box porn framing. Tiger Nuts eats the box. Because you know goats just do eat any goddamn thing.
I should have drawn this bigger because now I have to fit these tiny. Yeah.
Just draw it like beans.
Oh wow, that is some good xylene.
I feel like they were just preemptively centering any area in which a dick might be. Just in case. Like, maybe if he slipped, then his, you know, they'd catch it before the dick traveled that far. Nice.
This is fucked up!
I want that frame, too! Good times. Yeah, really, I'm gonna go eat lunch.
I think I would probably want some lunch, too. What time is it?
How long have you been doing this?
I don't know. Actually, I do know.
I don't like 10.
I've got 15 more minutes, and then I'm gonna cut and run.
Popping the old bubble wrap. I feel like bubble wrap's probably launcher.
Oh, skate, box cock.
Maybe bubble wrap is the G spot. That's what it is. It's not hard to find. There's a bunch of them.
When you just start nutting and you can't stop nutting. This is fucked up.
That's incredible. Peanutting, essentially.
Peanutting.
You should color them like pink and green.
Sorry,
Picture like the shrink wrapping you seal boxes.
I'm particularly proud of this one. That's the thing that they do is like the eyes struck through means that they're just like glazed out.
And one eye is closed farther than the other because they're actually like brain damage.
I did this wrong because if I was actually parodying hentai, she would have to look like she was having a really bad time. Which I hate! I hate that in hentai.
It's true that
it's
sex
awful.
faces sometimes look like that. But if you're drawing it, you can make the decision to make it not look like they're being murdered by sex.
Yeah, I don't...
Unless they are, in which case
that.
I kind of see your point. Like, you couldn't really gloss over that, could you? But if you're actually murdering them with sex, it shouldn't look like that.
Oh, man. Alright, what are we gonna do?
I don't know, I'm gonna make bacon.
15 minutes.
Do you want some of the bacon? I could be convinced to not eat all of this bacon.
I mean, I will probably go out or something.
I'll save you one strip of bacon.
Is it stopped raining?
It stopped raining like a half an hour after it started. So I was sent home from work, which I was kind of excited about. And then it stopped raining and I was like, this is really funny.
Well, you lucked out.
It's true. I should actually do something with my copious free time. I was gonna phone the student loan office.
Yep.
Bye, chat! Stay weird. I believe in you.
Well, the internet porn rule is just that there is porn of it, full stop. If there isn't, somebody's gonna make some. No, maybe I'm gonna sketch something. I don't even know. Guess who's excited for Dark Souls? Now you rumbled me as Cameron. I don't play casual games for babies. Dark Souls is for dumbs. I might do a Vorthos playthrough of Firewatch. I don't know. Because I would maybe give it a while. Because it was a little emotionally draining to play. I said that I beat Firewatch and somebody was just like, you said that you were burnt out and on emotionally draining games. It's like, yeah, that's the one I was talking about. I can manage a couple every once in a while. Now I just need to play a shitload of Devil Daggers until I'm reloaded. I think I would probably want a Bloodborne art book. Although the problem with Devil Daggers is it's really fucking hard. I'll be honest, I'm actually terrified of that Dragon Cancer because everybody told me that it's just like, I'm like, maybe I don't need to do that right now. I've heard it's really good, but... maybe I'll be in better shape to do all this stuff when the weather warms up. You may not have guessed it, but every winter I get unbelievably depressed. Although, weirdly, this year was more of a just general purpose malaise, which I take as being progress. But yeah, the winter months just shut me right down. Like, winters are pretty mild here in Victoria, so... Oh, we are just about out of time. We've been going for 3 hours. And we got a decent little sketch out of here. So, I'm gonna go have lunch and maybe play Highlander tonight, but we've got 2 brand spanking new ink pages of dregs down. 1 and 2. So those will be going up early for patrons. I should do my whole rigmarole. So, to recap, Dregs is moving to its own blog, which Voxlunch is going to continue reblogging those posts, but if you want to follow the comic and have an actual way to read it properly, it's dregscomic.tumblr.com. So go check that out. Anybody sub to my Patreon at $2 or higher gets to see the finished pages at least a day early, sometimes earlier. Like, I post them there when they're finished. So if I'm up late tonight working on stuff, there might be a page, but it'll at least be a day ahead, or maybe a few hours. So that's an incentive there, if you want to support the comic and support me. Check that out. But just reading the comic and telling your friends is more than enough, so... until next... Actually, let's see who's streaming. Maybe we can... one sec. And there's nobody streaming right now. So, until next time, I will see you all later.